Hey everyone. In this video I want to show you how to use library resources to write a literary research paper. And to do that I want to show you an example of a literary research paper so you know exactly what we're working on. So in this example here the author is writing about Charles Dickens and how he uses characters in the novel Great Expectations. So usually a literary research paper is going to focus on a famous author, novel, short story, poem, or play. And so in this beginning here they're going to introduce what exactly they're going to be investigating and talking about in regards to characters in Charles Dickens' book. But one of the things you'll see they talk about is they have examples of comments by literary critics on the novel Great Expectations and what they have to say about it. We see here's T.S. Eliot talking about how Charles Dickens creates characters in this novel. We have another literary critic here, Van Gent. Here's another one here named Brown that's being cited. And they all comment about this novel, about how Charles Dickens writes it. So one of the first things you'll want to do in terms of research when you're looking at your author or your book or whatever it is you're going to want to read what literary critics have to say about it, so you can sort of examine the dialogue that's surrounding this work and what things people see about it. And it'll give you some ideas about what you want to write about when it comes time to writing your paper. So I'm going to show you how you can use the library to find examples of literary criticisms like the one you see here talking about this novel by Charles Dickens. Also, you'll be citing throughout your literary essay is examples within the book that sort of illustrate the things you're talking about. So if you're going to talk about characters in the novel of Charles Dickens, you'll be constantly referring to things those characters say and do. Like here's Mr. Jaggers is a big character in the novel Great Expectations, and you see they're frequently citing and mentioning things he does within the novel. So that's pretty common for a literary research paper, is frequently citing the original text that you're talking about or original works by the author you're talking about. So you'll be doing those things a lot too. So if you need a copy of a book, you can also find copies of many pieces of classical literature in the library too. So I'll mention quickly how to find those. But here's an example of a literary research paper for you to look at to get started. So let me show you how, if we go to the library website, you can start gathering resources for your literary research paper. So if we go to student resources and then our databases page, I'm going to show you one of our main databases to find literary criticisms and information for literary papers. So if we go to EBSCOhost, and then our best starting point is going to be Literary Reference Center. So this database focuses on works of literature. You can see before we even start looking for anything, we have biographies of famous authors, like here's Edgar Allan Poe. Sometimes reading the background of an author can help you understand their works by learning about their life experiences and how they grew up and things like that. And you can find thousands of biographies of famous authors within Literary Reference Center. You can find articles on major works. There's some books that are actually available to read within Literary Reference Center. You see some examples here. And also to the left, you'll see areas where you can browse lists of famous authors that there's a lot of research available on. And most studied works will have books and novels and short stories and things like that that have a lot of literary criticisms that have been published about them. So you can sort of browse a list there. But I think most of you, once you know what author or work you want to look at, can come here and just simply search it. I'm going to search Ernest Hemingway. He's a famous American author. So here we'll do a basic keyword search for Ernest Hemingway. And here we have 1,000 results. So lots of research. Make sure as you pick a topic you do a quick search in the databases to make sure there's enough research available on them for you to write your paper. The more the merrier. So this is certainly a good thing. Plenty of sources. You see these here are labeled books. They're not actually going to be complete books. They're going to be sections of a book that has one chapter maybe that focuses on Ernest Hemingway. Like we see this entry here is only 10 pages long. So when we click on it, it's not going to be a whole book for us to read. It's just going to be 10 pages. This one has a biographical essay of Ernest Hemingway and critical analysis of his major works. So if you decide you want to write about Ernest Hemingway, this is going to be a great starting point for you. There's going to be sources like these, and Literary Reference Center has tons of entries like these on different authors. If we click in, we see the abstract, which is just a simple summary. Description of how long the work is, when it was published. This one's from 2010. Generally for a literary essay, your sources don't need to be brand new, so this should be perfectly fine for us. If we scroll down, then we can actually see the article itself, although sometimes you'll have to click to full text to get to the article. But for this one, we can scroll down. We can find when the author lived, some of their major works, and then as we go further down, we'll get into more of his background and how he lived, and analysis of his works. So what do literary critics say about Ernest Hemingway and his writing style, and how has his writing style been expressed in his different works? You know, what are the tenets of what makes him a great or unique author? These are the kinds of things you'll find in these literary criticisms as they try to sort of break down his writing and what makes it so special. Or maybe they'll even talk about flaws with his writing too. And here you can see his different works. So you can read through these and take detailed notes, but these kinds of articles are a great starting point if you know what author you want to do. Now, let's see if I've looked through this article and I'm taking my notes and I decide The Sun Also Rises is one of his early novels. Let's say you want to focus on this one for your paper. You want to write about The Sun Also Rises. So if we go back and we go to our results list, we could search in here for The Sun Also Rises under a keyword search, but also if we look under subjects, we'll see some common subjects that are tied to Ernest Hemingway, and we see one of them is the book, The Sun Also Rises. So if we check that box underneath our options here, we can narrow our search results. So we went from over 1,000 now to 68, but all 68 of these should specifically deal with The Sun Also Rises. This academic journal article, which will be a scholarly source, is going to compare that book to one of William Faulkner's books. And then we see another biography of Ernest Hemingway, and then we see some more literary criticisms that deal with his writing. So this one looks at anti-Semitism in some of his works, apparently. And we see others that look at masculinity in his novels and all kinds of different things. So you'll find a lot of different angles that things are looked at. There's a lot of different directions that literary critics can go as they examine different works. If we want to narrow down our search results again, specifically literary criticisms, if that's what you're looking for, we can again check this box here under source types, and it'll sort things down all the way down to 49 different articles. And again, if you see one that looks interesting, you can click the title here to bring this up. Oh, and don't forget, to the right, we see our links to cite the article, save it, print it out, and all that good stuff. And of course, the link to full text to bring up the article, to read, like I said, take detailed notes as these different critics break down Ernest Hemingway and his writing and how he approached his different books and novels. And as you read what they have to say, maybe you'll have some ideas about what you specifically want to talk about. Maybe it's the way he uses characters, maybe it's the way he uses setting to sort of set the mood for his stories, and there's certainly a lot of different things that you could write about. But again, make sure you read these literary criticisms very carefully as you go. So those are the kinds of sources you'll find in Literary Reference Center. Like I said, it's an excellent place to get started for a literary research paper. But another place you'll want to go to, if we go back to the library website and our databases and back to EBSCO. So Literary Reference Center is down here, and it's a great place when you're getting started. Once you know what you want to do, you might also want to search in EBSCOhost Web, because it will bring up sources from other places. Literary Reference Center is one database, EBSCOhost Web is all our databases grouped together. So if I search in here for Ernest Hemingway, it's going to bring up a wider collection of information. So we have 52,000 sources. Some of these will be complete ebooks, like this is an entire ebook dealing with Ernest Hemingway and his life. We could probably find a chapter or section in here that looked at the novel The Sun Also Rises. So EBSCOhost Web will also include entire ebooks for you to read. Here's another biography. If we scroll down, we'll see magazine articles, and there's just a lot more information and different kinds of sources in here. It's more to sift through, but if you know specifically what you're looking for, you can find some more detailed stuff. You'll also find some of these book excerpts, like we saw in Literary Reference Center, are also available in here. But again, there's a whole bunch of other things that are available in here too. So if you're not finding enough sources in your first stop in Literary Reference Center, I highly suggest you come in here and continue searching to find some extra information. And again, don't forget, as you search in here, you can narrow down your results to scholarly journals and things like that. If we go into one of these ebooks by clicking in where it says full text, don't forget, as you search through an ebook, if you find one on your author, you can go to search within, and I can search Sun Also Rises to find everywhere in this book where that novel is mentioned. so I can really quickly sort of skim through to find any reference to what I'm looking for. So that'll be highlighted in yellow. So here it is where it talks about the sun also rises. So you can quickly sort of skim through to find exactly what it is you're looking for in this much larger book. You don't need to read the whole thing. You can use this search within feature to find whatever specific topic you're looking for within this larger book. So definitely search those two databases when you're embarking on a literary research paper. Literary Reference Center, EBSCOhost Web. So as EBSCOhost Web also has ebooks that you can find online. And another option too, don't forget the physical library is still open. So if you don't find a book you're looking for in our ebook collection, you can actually search in here to find any books we have on Ernest Hemingway at the main campus library, and you can still come in to the main campus library and check out any books that you need for your literary research papers. We have literary criticisms on Ernest Hemingway and a lot of his original works and short stories here too, and whatever author you're doing, there's a good chance that we'll have a lot of their works available. So those are the three main stops I would look for any research paper that you're working on dealing with literature. Literary Reference Center, especially to get started, EBSCOhost Web, and then search our main book collection. And like I said, you're welcome to come into the library or contact us if you have any questions about a literary research project. My name is Alex Kirby, and my email address, if you have any questions about this, is akirby@pennhighlands.edu.